Alright, today we're going to make our cognac steak sauce, top off some steak and some asparagus. So things you'll need for our cognac steak sauce. Obviously you're going to need some steak. I'm using top round steak. Some tomato paste. Some mushrooms. A lot of asparagus. Our good old friend Hennessy. Black pepper and red pepper. Some beef stock. Some heavy whipping cream. Some extra virgin olive oil. Some onions. And some butter. Let's get started. Yep, so let's get our steak. Put them on the cutting board. We're going to season them with red pepper and black pepper. Crush some of that black pepper on there. Alright, now crush some of that red pepper on there. Make sure you get both sides evenly coated. Alright, now that our steak's prepped, let's get ready to get our vegetables prepped. We're going to start off with the asparagus. Get it all on the cutting board. Even it out as best as you can. Chop about 2 to 3 inches off from the bottom. And our asparagus is ready to cook. Alright, now let's get our mushrooms. We're going to thinly slice these bad boys. You need about 2 cups of mushrooms. Alright, now once those are finally chopped, put them in the bowl and set them aside. Let's get a plate out. Let's get started on our onions. So we're only going to need half a cup of onions. And we're going to finely dice these. Alright, once your onions are diced, place them on a plate, set them aside. Alright, now on the stove we're going to get 2 pots. Alright, we're going to place them both on medium heat, add a little bit of olive oil to both. You can use regular olive oil, today I'm using extra virgin olive oil. Alright, now let's add our asparagus to the first pan. Yep, now that our second pan's nice and hot, let's add our steak one by one until it's fully covered. Alright, now let's wiggle our asparagus around, make sure they're all evenly coated. At this point you can add some black pepper and some salt. Now that our steak's been cooking for a bit, time to flip them over one by one, just like we did at the beginning. Alright, now that it's been a minute, our asparagus is done. Let's take them off the heat and onto a bowl. Alright, meat's looking pretty done as well. Let's get a plate for that. Alright, we're going to take the meat off. And before we cut it, we're going to let it rest for a few minutes so the juices stay nice and intact. In that same pan that we used the steak, put a little bit of butter down. Next, we're going to add our onions. Now we're going to add the rest of our mushrooms that we did earlier. And we're going to add a little bit more butter. Crack some fresh black pepper in there. Now that it's reduced a little bit and softened up and gotten tender, we're gonna get our tomato paste. Add a little bit of that in there. Next, we're gonna get our beef stock. Add all of the beef stock in there. We're gonna reduce that until it's about a third of what we just had. Alright, now that it's been cooking for a little bit, as you can see, it's getting darker and darker. Keep on stirring. Make sure you don't burn any of the bottom. Getting darker and darker and darker. Almost there. Just keep reducing until it gets a little bit thicker. Alright, now that you reach this stage, it's right where we want it. We're going to turn off the heat. Stir it a little bit more. Now we're going to grab that bottle of Hennessy. Crack that bad boy open. Grab our handy dandy lighter. Pour about a third a cup of Hennessy or Cognac or whatever kind of alcohol you wish to use as sauce with. Get it off the stove. Yep, and then light that sucker on fire. Keep in mind this part is pretty dangerous if you don't know how to flambe. As you can see, it caught fire. You're just going to let that catch fire, and it's going to slowly go out by itself as it reduces. Make sure you're in a well-ventilated area when doing this. Alright, now that we cooked all the alcohol, let's put it back on the stove. We're going to grab some of that heavy whipping cream we had earlier. Just pour a little bit in there. Now stir it in there and mix it all together. Yep, once the heavy cream's well incorporated, we're going to get some butter. And keep in mind, this is not on any kind of heat. We're just going to let the hotness of the sauce take over and melt the butter. Alright, now that our butter is incorporated, we're going to grab a bowl. And our sauce is ready. As you can see, it thickened up pretty nice. Those mushrooms and those onions are really, really tender. Yep, now that everything's ready, we're going to plate. We're going to start off with our bed of asparagus. Put that aside. Now we're going to grab our steak. Now it's been well rested, so when we do cut, the juices aren't going to go everywhere. Let's slice that on a bias. Alright, now that we plated up the steak, let's grab our sauce. Yep, pour some of that on there. Oh, look how beautiful that looks with that steak. Oh, man. Yep, as usual, let's grab a fork. Let's test it. Oh, the complexity of this sauce, man. You need to try this. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more.